Hey everybody, and welcome back or welcome. And as I promised in the last one, we're gonna start making some weapons. And I chose C4 in the last one, so we're gonna to save time and not be a huge video. We'll do it in two parts. We'll do the effect in this video, the mechanics and the effect. And then in part two, we'll do adding like explosive force from it, from the explosion, and affecting enemies nearby. So, and we'll have some enemies because that would have been too much for just this one. So here we go. I've got it so that when I press a key, and I chose the E key, you throw a C4 out in front of you like this. Okay, and they're unlimited right now for the purpose of this video. So now, this you can blow this up two different ways. So you can put them like in places the enemy's going to be coming. You can do it in two different ways. You can either see I'm clicking all around it, nothing happens. I'm left clicking, but if you left click the C4 itself, okay. Now you throw another one. This time, let's say three of them. Okay, now you get three of them out there. You can still click just one if you want and explode just one. Or you could right click, set them all off. Anything that's out there, you'll set off if you right click. And if you just want to do one, okay. So that's the effect, and all we got to do is add an explosion for us and deal with some enemies. Because I'll tell you, between this one and this one, I got like five of these or six apples, evil apples, and I'm not sure who I want to do what. And it would have been a long video if I did the enemies and explosion force. In this one, it would have been a long video and it would have taken longer to get to you. So we'll do that in part two. But you saw the effect. So let's see how that's done here. Go into my code folder. I created two new scripts. One is called weapons and one is called C4 boombox. This one, the boombox one, this goes on the actual model that you saw throw down. And that's just something I made in Blender real quick. Made it a little poly. It's just supposed to look like a kind of phone taped onto C4 with like a receiver antenna device. So I made that real quick in Blender. So, and this code here would go on the thing you see the model. And then we've got a weapons script that goes somewhere on the player so that the player can give input when he wants to, throw those and blow them up. So why don't we look at the C4 first? Okay. So we got our usings, C4 boombox. That's the name of the script. Private audio source, I call it sound. Two public audio clips, one for beeping and one for clicking. So like the beep is just a microwave sound I found beeping, but it works really good for like a bomb, getting that transmission to go off. And then the click is when you click on it, sound. And then a public game object I called it Explo, but that's what we're going to declare as the C4 model I showed you. Okay. And then we need a private bool called can explode. And we'll set it to true at first because we want it to be able to, yes, I can explode if you do something. All right. Then we got in the start method, we declare sound as the game component, the audio source. In the update, we look for input. Okay. So if input dot get mouse down equals mouse right, one is right. So if right mouse button is pushed and can explode, so this means can explode equals true, but it's just a shorter syntax. Like if can explode equals false, you'd have just an exclamation point there. But you could use equals true like this. Equals. All right, both ways will work, but this is just, a way to shorten your code. So if the right mouse button is down and I can't explode, start coroutine, wait, begin. And then we set that bool that it checked here to false because we don't want to be able to click or set it off anymore. Okay, while it's waiting to go off. Then we've got in the input still a private void on mouse down. So when you left click, all right, so if can explode, which is that bool again, so we haven't hit the right mouse button, we can explode. If can explode, play the clicking sound because we're clicking on it to set it off, and then start the coroutine like up here and set this to false. Then we have a private void destroy me, which just holds this one line, destroy this game object. And that's because we want to set it off after a certain amount of seconds with an invoke, so it had to be in its own void. Then we've got the coroutine IEnumerator wait begin. We set a variable I to 0. I equals random.range. 0.1 to 0.5, it's float. Yield return new wait seconds, I. So we're picking a random amount of seconds between zero point 0.1 and zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay. And then when that's over, whatever that is that it picks, play the sound, beep. So beep beep, got you, I'm going to explode. Then we wait the same amount of seconds as they did. We wait again, but this time the game object, which would be explo, which is the model of the C4 there. Game object to get component box collider. That's another, I'm going to show you that. You need a box collider on it. You need a rigid body on it. But we're going to get the component box collider and enable it to false, and then the renderer and enable it to false. This way you won't be able to collide with it or see it. It's like it's not there. But we're just going to wait a minute for things to go off before we get rid of it. And then variable explo big, okay, is going to be a game object we instantiate. It's equal to that explo, the C4, and then we give it the position, this transform.position, and the rotation, quaternity identity. And then destroy explo big, that's why we created this variable, so we could do this after 5 seconds. That gives it time to have the particles smoke float up in the air and stuff, and because if we just destroyed it, the particles would go with it. So, and then sound play, whatever sound is on that audio source. Invoke, I think for me it's an explosion sound. Invoke name of destroy me after 5 seconds, and that's what this is. So we destroy the C4 itself, which has been invisible and you can't go through after 5 seconds. And we destroy the explosion effect after 5 seconds. So that's the boombox code. You got it all here from top. Scroll through so you can pause if you need to get any of it. And that's that. Okay. And like I said, where is it here? The model C4. The boombox there. Okay, so you see my model, you see how I have it looking for when you throw it. Okay. Unpack this. Well, maybe you can see without it. Yeah, you can see without it. Okay, so this we have the materials in the mesh renderer, but the rigid body here is when you put on it, and I think basically you can just leave it the way it comes, except I like to, it comes with discrete. I like continuous, but that's up to you. But other than that, you can basically just leave this the way it comes. Okay. And then we got our box collider. And if, why can't I edit that? Because you're not unpacked, maybe? Still can't edit the collider. What's up with that? Hmm. Okay. Doesn't matter. But you got a box collider on here, which you need. So rigid body and box collider. And then you've got the script, which I showed you. That's the script here we just went over. Okay. And the beep and click audio clips that we declared, we just throw our clips in there, drag them over and drop them in there. And then Explo for the effect, what I did was I went onto the Unity Asset Store. There's a lot of really good free effects on there. And I picked JMO's Assets War Effects. All right. And that's a pretty good one. And I think the one we're using is in the explosions. I think we picked explosive smoke big. Okay, if you want to see it, just drop it in. Boom. So I think that's the one we use. Okay. So yeah, just go in the asset store, grab JMO assets, war effects, and then you'll have all those explosions, and they've got bullet impacts and fire, muzzle flashes, smoke. So a lot of good stuff in that. And the only other code is on the player for input. I put it on the main camera for some reason. But why do you have a boombox? Oh, that no, no, no. Yeah, I locked that. You ever do that? Lock that so you can drag something in and forget, and then you're like, why is that like that? All right, so the player has this script, and I put it on the camera, but you can put it on the player itself. I don't know why I did that. Weapon script. C4 is going to be a game object we declare for that prefab right here. C4. So that's the prefab of it down here. And we can get rid of that one. So that's what that's going to be. And then a transform, which is on the player itself. All right. And C4 position. So my gizmos are turned off. I'll turn them back on. I hate gizmos, but maybe I can do this because of this. Okay. C4 position is right here. So your camera's up here, and you're kind of throwing it just below the camera in front of you. And it's going to go in the direction of the blue line here. Your Z, your forward Z. And that's the C4 position. And that's what we declared right here. So if we go into the code for weapons, real short, like I said, game object C4, transform, C4 transform. That's what I just showed you. You really don't need to start. I have nothing in it, so we don't need it. I don't like these things. Get rid of them. In the update, if input get key down. So all this weapon script does right now is just look for input, and that's it. but it's going to get more advanced as we um, keep going in this series here with weapons. So if input get key down key code E, I picked. Then if that's true, we create a variable for the model, throwable C4, and we need this to add force to it after. So that's why we're creating a variable to instantiate a game object. Then we set it equal to the game object we instantiate. Set its position to C4 transform.position, the transform I showed you. And then set its rotation to quaternion Euler. This transform.rotation.x minus 90. That way it comes out normal looking because it exported in the wrong rotation. And then this transform y and this transform z. So after you instantiate it, we take this variable we created and we tell it to get the component of the rigid body and add force to it. And in the direction it would be this transform forward times 30. Same thing with down here, except we're going to throw it transform.up. So kind of up and out, like you're throwing it, is what we're doing. Okay. And that's that script. So don't even have to scroll it. It's, 20 lines long. And then, like again, the boombox one last time. But that's the biggest code is the actual C4 you throw, the code that's on that. And that's not bad. Pretty cool for being able to blow it up two different ways. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, I used the model I made, but I'm sure you can find something, even make something in Unity with cubes and cylinders or something and give them materials. But that's it. So, like I said, in part two, we'll add some explosion force to that, and maybe kill some enemies, and that'll work. So, you know, until next time, Happy says, watch out for bad.